The comedy and entertaining drama begins when our lead star, Jack, races his car on the road. There are barriers set up to stop people for checks by the police. However, since Jack is in a hurry, he does not stop and breaks the signals to rush toward his destination. He is heading to an award ceremony. When the police start following him, he keeps moving. The entire media industry is anticipating that Jack will win the award. His manager, Seo, and assistant, Dang, wait for him in the award show's dressing room when another nominee in the top actor category enters. He is Namjo, who is not nearly as good as Jack, but he is hopeful to win the award too. At the same time, Jack stops his car in front of the building, and his hands have bloodstains that have soiled his white shirt. To avoid any interrogation from media reporters, he removes the shirt before entering the building, leaving just a coat on his torso. Meanwhile, the police arrive following him and demand that he come along to the police station for violating traffic rules. Arrogant and overconfident, Jack assures the police officer that he is already late for the award show, which is why he did not stop. However, he promises that as soon as he receives the award, he will go to the police station with them. Later at the police station, the investigating officer asks him why he was driving so fast. Jack completely denies the accusation and assures them that he was just in a hurry to receive the award and was not drunk. The assistant police officer is excited to see a top star at the police station. The officer is convinced Jack was drunk because his speech at the award show was completely blunt. Jack receives the award as anticipated and is about to leave the stage when the host requests him to say a few words to his fans. The blunt Mr. Jack tells everyone that this small award is nothing compared to his acting skills. He has tried his best to act well, but he deserves much more than this poorly designed award, and tells everyone that the award show host should send the award to his home next time because he will not come for such a trivial thing. Jack thinks highly of himself, and no doubt he is a remarkable actor. On the other hand, the police receive his blood test confirming that Jack was not drunk. Hence, he leaves the police station with an attitude and goes outside, where numerous reporters are waiting. He does not reply to anyone and gets into his car with Seo. His manager, Seo, eats a piece of food from a soiled plate in the car and feels terrible pain in his stomach. He is annoyed with Jack's attitude, which makes his job of dealing with the media more difficult. But Jack doesn't care about it. Seo has to use the washroom and requests Jack to let him use his house's washroom. Jack is very suspicious and takes quite a while to unlock his apartment so Seo doesn't see the lock. Afterwards, Seo rushes to the washroom while Jack commands his robot, Sunny, to play music and asks who is the best actor in the country. Sunny replies that Jack is the top star today in both acting and singing. Smiling with pride and arrogance, Jack turns on his own action movie and starts working out simultaneously. But as soon as Seo leaves the apartment, Jack transforms from an arrogant, rude top star into someone who is deeply depressed and unable to cope with his sadness. He takes a shower and swallows a number of pills to calm himself. Jack was supposed to reach the award show on time, but he suffered a panic attack on the way and started crying miserably. Consequently, he stopped the car and punched his hand so hard against a pole that it started bleeding, staining his shirt as well. Despite his condition, he never wants to disappoint his fans, so he somehow makes it to the award show. Now, once again alone in the apartment, he is dealing with his depression and anxiety. Amid all this, a painting in his bedroom soothes his pain and he keeps staring at it for a while. It is a picture of a lone island where a lively girl named Kate lives, making her living by catching fish, octopuses, and pearls from the sea through diving. On the other hand, while Jack is shooting, numerous reporters interrupt his work, trying to ask him questions, which annoys and angers him. Before resuming the shooting, he goes to the reporters to answer their questions and get rid of them. He gives blunt but honest answers, which they dislike, and publish absurd remarks about him in the news the next day. Meanwhile, Jack is on a ship and calls Seo to confirm that his lead role in the drama has been replaced with a less talented star, Namjo. Seo confirms this, while Jack is accompanied by his yoga assistant, Dang. Seo tells Jack that as soon as the media settles down and is under control, he will call him back. In the meantime, he is sending Jack to an excellent resort on a special island. In fact, Seo actually wants Jack to overcome his anxiety by spending a few days on the island, which might make his problematic behavior a bit more tolerable. This is because Seo is also tired of Jack's attitude. The ship reaches the island, but Dang then takes another boat to reach the final destination. However, as soon as the boat starts, Dang jumps off and leaves a shocked Jack alone. In fact, Dang knew Seo's plan all along, and as the boat moves away, He tells Jack that he need not worry, as someone will meet him on the other side to take him to a beautiful resort. Jack is confused about what's happening. The sea environment feels quite nauseating, and after a long while, the boat driver leaves him on a desolate island. As he departs, he makes strange remarks about a lost star, which Jack does not understand. Meanwhile, Jack hears someone announcing over a loudspeaker that a big TV star is about to arrive on the island and that they are happy to welcome him. The announcer calls out someone's name to receive Jack. Jack once again adopts his arrogant attitude, expecting that someone will come to greet him as a celebrity. When no one arrives after waiting for an hour, he starts moving towards the village with his heavy luggage. Suddenly, a strange man making helicopter-like noises with his mouth appears and introduces himself as Park, Dang's father. Without helping Jack, he leaves to handle another emergency in the village and runs off at the same peculiar speed. Jack drags his luggage towards the village to find a place to stay and comes across two old and crazy-looking women admiring him while carrying heavy cow dung on their heads. Jack finds everything in the village a bit strange when he suddenly sees Kate coming from the front, dancing and enjoying herself. She excitedly shouts, identifying him as the awaited star in the village. However, she does not recognize his face as there is no TV or internet there. A while later, Jack stops to the side, thinking the girl wants to take a picture of him, and he poses. But instead, she also poses, wanting him to take her picture. Jack feels odd and discovers that she does not have a phone. If you need to call anyone in the village, you have to go to village chief's home and call them. Annoyed by her talking, Jack puts his hand over her mouth to quiet her for a moment. He is surprised to see Kate playing with children using a pig's bladder instead of a regular ball. Soon they reach Kate's home, where he has to live instead of at a dream resort. He cannot believe it, but that's the truth. For a while, he imagines that this could be a set for a reality show he was offered a while ago, but turned down. He asks Kate for headphones, but there are no mics or headphones. Irritated, Jack wants to leave the village immediately, but Kate tells him that the ship will only return once after 2 weeks. Annoyed with his miserable situation, he asks Kate to take him to a landline so he can talk to Seo. Seo hears him and assures him that he will send a boat possibly very soon. Thus, Jack idly walks around the village and suddenly stops at a scene that looks exactly like the painting in his room. All of a sudden, a stray goat starts following him before he can enjoy the scene, and he trips over something. He cannot stand up, and Mr. Park, who runs like an airplane, takes him to the village's hospital with the speed of an ambulance, carrying him in his arms. The hospital looks very unusual, as the old patients admitted they do funny things. The doctor admires Kate's jacket and dress, which Jack thinks are outdated. After an initial checkup, she tells him that Jack's ankle is broken and they will have to amputate it. At that moment, the doctor starts laughing because she cracked a joke. Jack feels trapped as everyone here, including the doctor, is behaving abnormally. At the same time, a man enters the hospital, and it turns out the doctor has a crush on him. Watching that man, the doctor hugs Jack's foot and twists it, causing pain, but his ankle is perfectly fine. Jack receives the next surprise when Kate tells him that he will have no dedicated space for bathing. She arranges a bathtub in the kitchen and gives him soap when he has already removed his shirt. It turns out there is no lock in the kitchen either. As he removes his clothes, Kate's grandmother opens the door, which embarrasses him beyond limits. On the other hand, Namjo enjoys fame, uses Jack's car, and makes new girlfriends. Meanwhile, Jack's first night in the village is horrible. He cannot sleep due to mosquitoes, and there is no water to take with his sleeping pills. The next day, Kate brings an octopus that her grandmother is excited to cook for the top star. Jack wakes up to a song on the loudspeaker, played to welcome his first morning on the island. Annoyed, he comes out of his room and finds Kate dancing. He tells her she should not torture people by dancing in front of them. Later, the grandmother wants him to join their delicious breakfast, but he declines the offer because his body cannot tolerate the heavy food. They are surprised by the kind of food he eats in the city. Granny insists, and the plate full of food falls, which embarrasses him, but he never apologizes as he is a rude person. Jack leaves the house to go to the beach with his surfboard. Seeing the fish kept on it to dry angers him, and instead of placing it somewhere clean, he just throws it away and leaves with his board. As soon as Kate knows, she frowns and follows him angrily toward the beach. She runs to hit him, and Jack puts his surfboard in front of his face, causing her to break it in 2 pieces. But she comes again to hit him in the face, and he falls down with a punch to his head. He gets up angrily, threatening her that he will have her arrested soon. But to his surprise, there is no police station in the village. Jack becomes so frustrated that he threatens Kate with returning to Seoul and filing a complaint against her for an attempted murder. She does not seem bothered, and Jack returns to the grandmother's home to pick up his luggage, as he can no longer tolerate being near Kate. The grandmother wants to know why he is leaving so soon. Jack explains that he can no longer be around her. From the grandmother's home, he heads to the village chief's house, where he uses his phone to call Seo. He cannot reach Seo, but tells Dong on the phone that he wants to return home as soon as possible, because he is in great trouble here, as someone tried to kill him. The village chief and his wife are shocked to hear his conversation, while Seo's plan to keep Jack in the village for an extended period has failed. Seo asks Dong to arrange a ship to bring Jack back. Meanwhile, after being assured that a boat will soon come to pick him up from the beach, Jack waits with his luggage. The same old ladies carrying heavy burdens on their heads pass by and are saddened to learn that he is leaving the village. They tell him that it was the first time they had a very handsome top star among them, and they will truly miss him. They leave soon, and Jack walks around to fetch some water for himself. He finds a grocery store nearby, but is surprised to see that it doesn't have even a water bottle. There is no shopkeeper, and when he picks up a bottle of juice, a kid stops him from taking anything, which annoys Jack even more. He irritates the kid and refuses to put the bottle of juice back. They start a fight, and the kid, who is Park's son, begins crying. Suddenly, Kate enters and calms the crying child. Jack discovers that Kate is the store owner, and without buying anything, he leaves, telling her that the store is rubbish, just like its owner. On the other hand, Namjo is enjoying his life in Jack's beautiful car and having fun with his girlfriends. One time, when he parks the car at a shopping mall, his face is covered with a mask, and the girl with him also has her face covered. Reporters who are chasing Jack everywhere do not see anyone's face and speculate that it is Jack in the car with his girlfriend. The media spreads the news that Jack has a new girlfriend like wildfire. Namjo is embarrassed and tells Seo that this news is the talk of the town, and that Jack will have to face this scandal if he returns to Seoul today. Seo, already afraid of Jack's response for leaving him on a deserted island, is now terrified that Jack will kill him if he discovers that Namjo was using his car. This scandal will ruin his reputation. After scolding Namjo for misusing Jack's car, he immediately calls the ship driver to return without taking Jack with him. Meanwhile, Jack waits for the ship's arrival in the heat and suddenly hears the village's loudspeaker announce that the ship will not come today. He feels helpless, and with his attitude, he cannot bear to return to Kate's home. However, he is very thirsty, so before going to the village chief's house, he stops by Kate's house. But when he hears that she is returning, he hides in the goat shed. It turns out that it was not Kate, but after hiding for quite a while in the goat shed, a miserable Jack finally gets up to go to the chief's house. He speaks to Seo, who tells him there is no other option but to stay in the village for 2 weeks. The ship driver has gone on a long trip and is the only person who knows the route to the village. Knowing that he has to stay in the village, Jack asks the village chief to arrange accommodation for him, as he can no longer live with the eccentric Kate. The village chief makes an announcement that all the villagers will have dinner at his place, where they will decide who will host the superstar Jack for a few days. As usual, Jack avoids the food because he dislikes the local cuisine. Suddenly, Kate and her grandmother arrive. The grandmother, being kind-hearted, wants Kate to apologize to Jack for her rude behavior. She insists that it is only fair for Kate to apologize after all the trouble she has caused. She drags Jack to sit among the other people at the dinner table. Even after waiting for so long, no one offers superstar Jack a place to stay. Thus, the grandmother forces Kate to ask Jack in front of everyone if he will stay at her home. Kate doesn't want to do this, but she stands up and apologizes. Without waiting for Jack to respond, she drags his suitcases and leaves the village chief's home. Jack resists, as he was expecting a more sincere apology. Seeing no other way, Kate half-heartedly apologizes once again and drags the suitcases along with her. During this argument, she gets so close to him that she realizes Jack is actually very handsome. That night, while Jack brushes his teeth with an electric toothbrush, Kate watches him with surprise. Jack misunderstands her stare, thinking she is admiring his biceps, but she takes the toothbrush from his hand and becomes very happy with the little machine. Later, Jack takes a stroll around the village and discovers that Kate lives in the room above the grocery shop. The room has a vintage feel, as nothing there is from the modern era. Kate listens to music from a cassette player by her favorite singer who has stopped singing and is now very old. Jack feels sad to learn that these cassette players and cassettes belong to her parents, who left for the sea one day and never returned. That night, they continue listening to the music and fall asleep. The next morning, Jack teases Kate for being lucky to have him around and offers to arrange a meeting with his favorite singer. This impresses her. Today, Jack makes his own low-carb breakfast and then goes surfing at the beach. The surfboard is perfectly repaired, and after enjoying his time there, he returns home feeling very tired and hungry. In his room, he hears Kate preparing delicious food with many tempting ingredients that make his mouth water. However, when Kate offers Jack a bite, he refuses out of ego and scolds her for preparing food so late at night. Kate and Granny had planned to get him to eat healthy food, but it failed. The next day, Jack falls unconscious from being underfed. Kate calls the doctor, who suggests that they give Jack healthy food and address his poor sleep. They need to do something to ensure Jack eats and sleeps well. Meanwhile, Jack dreams about a childhood incident where someone threw a plate full of food away, and he wakes up. After feeling a bit better, he removes the IV line and takes a walk outside. He sees Kate fishing, and suddenly Granny catches his attention when she hides something in her hands. Granny insists that she ordered a few spices from another city to make Jack start eating their food. Jack realizes their concern for his health and feels sorry for his attitude. From that night on, he tells Granny that he will eat whatever they prepare. That night, Kate prepares a hot bath for him to help him relax. As she is about to leave, she notices Jack's underwear with a strange print. She mocks him, and Jack feels ashamed, but her playful gaze makes him blush even more. As he tries to retrieve his underwear, he falls into Kate's arms. The next morning, Jack feels much better and is talking to Kate when she hears an announcement that her childhood friend Max is returning on his ship. Max went away 3 years ago, and Kate starts running towards the beach to meet him as soon as she hears the news. The whole village loves Max. He is the village chief's son who grew up playing with Kate. Her whole childhood was about her and Max, and she even used to say that she would marry him when they grew up. But now Max has brought a pretty ring from his long journey and is in love with Kate. He plans to give it to her sometime, but Kate takes this as a childhood joke. Jack finds Max and Kate's bond cheesy, and during lunch that day, Granny tells him that it was Max who took good care of Kate. Granny makes a bowl of scrambled eggs for Jack. He hesitates to eat, but Kate mixes it with numerous ingredients and takes immense joy in serving this delicious food. On the other hand, Max tells his parents that he is tired of exploring the world. Now he has made enough money and plans to settle down and marry the girl of his choice. After having lunch, Kate is in a hurry to go fishing and forgets her tools. Granny sends the tools with Jack. He rushes to her grocery store where she stopped to wear her swimsuit. Jack gives her the hooks and accompanies her to the beach. On the way, he notices strange marks on her wrist from sea diving. Jack looks concerned, but Kate assures him that these are just ordinary bruises. Jack keeps watching her collect fish and asks if she doesn't think it's dangerous to dive. She tells him that she feels her parents are closer to her here because the sea holds memories of them. Most of the time, she finds such precious things in the sea that she feels it's a gift from her parents. Jack is at a loss for words, and they soon return to the grocery store to change clothes while Jack waits outside. It takes too long to change, and Jack tries to open the door when he hears a noise inside. At the same time, Max, watching him try to get in, misjudges his intentions. When Kate comes out of the changing room, she is thrilled to see Max, and they begin running after each other like kids. In that moment, she forgets her fishing net, which Jack brings back home. The house is empty, and Granny is nowhere to be seen, but her food on the stove is burning. Jack tries to turn off the stove but cannot do so. Granny is dismayed to see the smoke emerging from the kitchen as she returns with Kate. Kate scolds Jack for not turning off the stove, but he explains that he doesn't know how to handle these stoves. Meanwhile, Sio investigates what was stolen from Jack's car but finds no clues, as all the camera footage has been wiped. At the same time, Kate and Max return home, and she is surprised that despite his rude attitude, Jack bothered to bring her net back. Max takes out a hammer from his pocket and swings it in the air, asking if they need anything repaired. Jack asks him to repair the kitchen lock, as he is too terrified to take a bath there with no lock. Granny clarifies that she never saw him, which makes everyone laugh. Max enjoys spending time with Kate, and she takes care of his skin while he watches her with affection. That night, the village chief has announced a dinner to celebrate Max's return. He treats Kate as his own daughter and brings a dress for her to wear. He was also a great friend of her late father. That night, everyone enjoys the food, and later Max and Kate dance together. Jack feels a bit jealous watching them and is not at all interested in being part of this gathering. He suddenly realizes that he was told no boat could come before 15 days, so how is Max here? He asks Max to arrange a boat so he can return home, but Max does not want to help him, as he has everything he wants for himself. They decide to settle their argument with arm wrestling. Both men are too strong to defeat each other, but Jack knows Max's weakness and whispers in his ear that he slept with Kate. As soon as Max hears this, he loses his grip on Jack's hand and loses the challenge. Later, he clarifies that sleeping does not mean there is a relationship between him and Kate. Later that night, Jack doesn't want Max to come and meet Kate, so he locks the outer door before going to bed. Initially, Max bumps into the locked door and then breaks the lock to enter. Max has brought expensive gifts and cosmetics for Kate and expresses his desire to marry her. But Kate takes it as a joke, and their conversation annoys Jack. He does not want them to develop any intimate bond. The next day, Kate teases Jack, saying that although he may be a superstar in Seoul, he isn't particularly handsome. He steps closer and pushes her against the wall. The proximity takes Kate by surprise, and she realizes just how charming he is. She then takes the cosmetics Max brought for her to the doctor, who applies heavy makeup. Confident that she looks great, Kate returns home, but Jack bursts into uncontrollable laughter, telling her she looks like an 80s-era star. Annoyed, Kate washes off the makeup and prepares a meal that reminds Jack of his childhood, a time he'd rather forget. Kate invites him to taste the dish, but his irritation causes him to shake off her hand. Concerned for his health, since he previously fell unconscious from missing meals, Kate follows him. Jack reflects on a past memory of when he was sick as a teenager, relying on his mother. She brought him the same food in the hospital, accompanied by her new boyfriend, and expressed her concern for his health. However, when Seo arrived, she expressed relief that Jack would recover soon, having already received money from investors who expected Jack to work in the media industry. Overhearing this, Jack felt disillusioned, realizing his mother's affection seemed tied to his potential earnings. He threw the food away, telling his mother he would work in the drama industry, but resented her pretense of caring. Jack later returns to apologize to Kate, but is interrupted by Max, who informs him that a boat has been arranged and will arrive the next day. Jack, initially determined to apologize before leaving, finds himself reluctant to go. He packs his belongings, and before departing, Granny gives him some food for the journey. She mentions that Kate has gone to the sea to find something special for him. Jack heads to the shore where Kate presents him with a sea urchin, comparing them both to being thorny on the outside but soft and tender inside. Jack is taken aback by her insight. When Kate dives back into the water and doesn't reappear for a while, Jack jumps in to search for her. He finds her sitting on a rock, angry at her carelessness, but she insists she's done nothing wrong. Back home, Kate is collecting laundry when she sees Jack standing behind a cloth. Surprised that he hasn't left yet, she's taken aback. He approaches her and suggests she should enter his world. Jack then places his hand over her mouth and tells her she's lucky to have such a desirable man in her life. With a dramatic flourish, he heads towards his room. This reminds him of a night before an award show when the stylist wasn't showing suitable dresses. His assistant mentioned her mother was having surgery that day, so Jack sent her on leave and thought of his own mother. It was her birthday, so he bought a cake and went to visit her. He was shocked to find his mother living a miserable life, deceived by his stepfather, and now penniless. His anger towards his mother grew, feeling she had wanted him in the profession only for the money. He threw the food away, frustrated, and struck his fist against a pole, injuring himself. By the time he reached the award show, his mood was completely soured. The show host's comment about him having a good day only made matters worse. Jack's angry remarks became headlines. That evening, he sits quietly in his village room, watching Kate work with her laundry. He reflects on how this simple life is what he desired. Kate, confused by his intense gaze, is told by Jack to move aside as he is enjoying the view. Later, Kate prepares meatballs that look delicious. However, Jack loses interest when she mentions they are for Max. Max arrives and asks Jack why he hasn't left the village. Jack refuses to explain. Pretending to dislike the food, Jack leads Kate to give all the meatballs to Max, who leaves after hearing his mother call him from a distance. Jack is annoyed that all the food went to Max. On the other hand, Seo, Jack's uncle, meets Jack's mother in Seoul. She shares her sorrowful story of how her husband abandoned her, taking all her money and leaving her destitute. The cake found in Jack's car was bought for her on the night of the award show. Seo feels deeply remorseful. realizing that Jack's frustration at the awards show stemmed from a lack of understanding. He punished Jack by sending him to a remote village without knowing the full story. Meanwhile, Jack finds himself in Kate's 80s-style room, lulled by the music and the comfort of the space. As he falls asleep, he is at peace. Upon waking, he finds Kate sitting in front of him with wet hair. The close proximity stirs intense emotions in Jack. He questions her about her intentions and tells her that she shouldn't appear in front of a boy with wet hair. Jack leaves to make a call to Dong. Seo, now regretting his earlier actions, passes the phone to Namjo. During their conversation, Jack gathers that Namjo has created some issues. Jack asks them to send him a few things and ends the call. Meanwhile, Kate, eager to understand boys better, reads a book given to her by the doctor, hiding under her blanket at night. The next morning, as Jack returns from jogging and splashes water on his face, Kate watches him, captivated by his appearance. The book has altered her perspective on men. She gazes at Jack with newfound romantic interest. When Jack sprays himself with water, she struggles to contain her emotions. Realizing that the book is influencing her thoughts, she rushes to return it to the doctor. On her way, she accidentally bumps into Jack and falls into his arms. The book slips from her clothes, and Jack picks it up, reading its contents. He mocks her but doesn't return the book. Max, noticing this, snatches it from Jack's hand and reads the title. Surprised, he returns the book to Kate and explains that the book doesn't accurately represent men. He tells her that men are not wild wolves, they are afraid of losing someone they secretly love, so they hide their feelings. Namjo arrives at Jack's home to retrieve some items as requested. He is impressed by the luxurious lifestyle but gets frustrated when the robotic assistant doesn't respond and ends up damaging it. That night, he takes a shower and daydreams about becoming a top star like Jack. Jack, still smiling from the romantic book's influence, is interrupted by Kate knocking on his door. She asks him to accompany her, and he, still in a romantic mood, follows her, expecting something sentimental. However, Kate surprises him by announcing they are going crab fishing, as it's easier at night. Upon their return, Kate discovers Max's father unconscious in the field. She decides to leave him there, as he is too drunk. The next morning, Max is frantic when he can't find his father and turns to Jack, who ignores him, fueling Max's anger. Max chases Jack, leading them back home, where Kate is preparing a large amount of food. Max assumes it's for a party, but Kate clarifies it's for the memorial day of her parents. That evening, Max's father goes missing again, and his worried mother arrives at Kate's home asking for help in searching for him. He had been too drunk to reach the beach in time for Kate's father's memorial. They attend the memorial service, and Jack is reminded of a time years ago when he visited his mother on his father's Memorial Day, only to be turned away because his mother was enjoying time with her new husband. After the memorial service, Jack searches for Kate and finds her lying by the water, mourning her parents, whom she lost at sea. He embraces her, feeling her pain and connecting it with his own sense of loss from his father's Memorial Day. They both weep, sharing their loneliness. Meanwhile, Max, who had brought an engagement ring to propose to Kate, witnesses this intimate moment and leaves, disappointed. Suddenly, both Kate and Jack realize how close they are. Kate tells him that he is a good man and returns home, where Granny expresses her desire for Kate to get married, as it's her biggest wish. The next morning, Jack is surprised to see someone performing excellent dance moves, only to discover that it's Granny. A loud noise from a distance prompts Granny to explain that a strange man lives on the hill and makes such sounds. While searching for Kate, Jack finds her asleep in her grocery store. He places a pot under her head, but as she moves, she dents the pot. Kate asks him to compensate for the damage, so Jack gives her his favorite and expensive designer bracelet and advises her to take good care of her bruised wrist and the bracelet. As they leave the store, they see Max looking handsome in his suit, heading for a blind date on another island. He drags Kate along with him, which annoys Jack, but he has no reason to stop her. Dejected, Jack returns home to find that Granny has patched his ripped jeans, thinking he would feel ashamed wearing them like that. He is furious because the jeans are the most expensive in the world, and Granny has ruined them. He struggles to find a way to express his anger. Meanwhile, Max tells Kate that he is unsure if his blind date, arranged by his parents, will like him. Kate assures him that he is such a nice guy that anyone would love to have him. She then notices that his shirt needs a button, and after searching for thread and needle, stitches it on his shirt. As she comes closer, Max struggles to control his feelings for her. At the same time, Jack can't stop thinking about what Max and Kate might be doing. He helps Granny with odd tasks, and Mr. Park's conversation with his wife only adds to his frustration. Mr. Park mentions that his wife was about to marry a man in Seoul, but was proposed to by him at the right time. This angers Jack, and he tells Mrs. Park that she would have lived a happier life in Seoul if she had accepted that proposal. Mr. Park, displeased, leaves quickly. Meanwhile, Max, who agreed to the blind date to please his parents, tells the girl that he loves someone else. She leaves the hotel, and Max sits with Kate, who had been watching him from a distance while sipping espresso. She didn't like it but ordered the espresso to understand why superstar Jack loves it. During their conversation, Max hesitates to give Kate the engagement ring he has. He asks her if she loves him, and she assures him that he is as important as Granny and that she loves him like a brother. On the other hand, Jack discovers from Kate's books that she enrolled in university, but never left the village because she didn't want to leave Granny alone. As Kate and Max leave the hotel, the boatman informs them that they have to stay on the island tonight due to high sea tides. Jack makes an excuse about needing to buy new jeans and books a boat for himself to follow Max and Kate at Long Island. He searches for Max and Kate, who are booking their rooms at the hotel. Kate innocently insists that they can stay in one room and drink together. However, Max, unable to control his feelings, nearly runs out of the room. Later, Kate watches Jack's drama and finds him very handsome. With Namjo's help, Jack arranges for someone to pick up Kate from the hotel in a luxury car. He looks stunning, as if he's in a TV commercial. He kisses her, and that night, Max gathers the courage to propose to Kate, only to discover that she is not in her room. For a moment, Kate is stunned, but then she regains her composure and asks Jack why he is kissing her, why he expressed his love, and why he called her here. Jack is momentarily confused, thinking she liked his confession, but Kate, still confused, tells him that she didn't like his confession or his kiss. This angers Jack, who believes any girl would be lucky to have him as a partner, and she is rejecting him. Kate is frustrated and bumps her head against his, telling him to find a girl who appreciates him and walks away. As she walks down the road, she continues to think about what just happened. Jack pulls up beside her in a car and proposes a deal. He will reverse time on his watch, and before she rejects him, she must spend a day with him to see his world. She agrees, and the car heads towards Jack's home in Seoul. Meanwhile, Kate wants to inform Max and Granny that she is leaving for Seoul. Jack tells her that he has already left a note for Max and she can tell Granny. Max, finding his father outside the hotel, tells him that he brought Jack here and that Kate left with him a while ago. Father and son go to a bar and get drunk, where Max confides in his father that he loves Kate, but is afraid to tell her. Back in the car, Jack shares for the first time about his life, his parents, and everything. Kate, however, falls asleep while listening to his story. Jack calls Namjo to arrange for necessary items for his apartment as he's returning that night. The next morning, Max returns home to find his mother furious about the ruined date, but his father intervenes on his behalf. The journey ends, and Jack finally reaches his apartment, which surprises Kate with its high-tech security and sophisticated design. Kate is impressed by his apartment and lifestyle. Suddenly, Namjo appears, and Jack notices a change in his attitude. He discovers that Namjo has broken his robot, Sunny. Jack controls his anger as Kate recognizes Namjo from a TV show. Shaking hands with her, Namjo notices Jack's bracelet on Kate's wrist and concludes that Kate is special to Jack. When Jack shows Kate the bedroom, he's embarrassed to see that it is decorated like a honeymoon suite. Nervously, he throws some undergarments into the trash bin, but Kate retrieves them, telling him he shouldn't just throw things away. Namjo then informs Seo that Jack is back, and with a village girl. Dong knows who she is, and is surprised that Jack forgave Namjo for breaking Sunny. He stops Seo from going there, explaining that Jack brought Kate because she is special to him. Meanwhile, Jack prepares food while Kate watches his movie on TV. She sees a kissing scene and almost feels as if he's showing real emotion. She turns off the TV and approaches Jack in the kitchen, asking him about the kiss in the movie. Jack realizes that Kate is a bit jealous but hides her emotions. She asks to use the shower. Jack directs her, but she struggles with the ultra-modern shower. When Jack starts the shower for her, Kate feels his closeness and shuts her eyes, expecting a kiss. However, Jack silently leaves the washroom and places her clothes outside for her. That day, as promised, Jack has a surprise planned. They go shopping for a dress for Kate and then head to a club. Kate is thrilled to see her favorite singer performing. She happily gets the singer's autograph, and as their 24 hours together are about to end, Jack plans to take her to a restaurant where he will propose. But as they are about to leave the theater, a few reporters spot them and start following. Meanwhile, Max finds Granny unconscious in her kitchen and rushes her to the city for better medical care. Just as Jack is about to propose to Kate, his phone rings with news that Granny is very sick. Jack immediately leaves the restaurant with Kate, but they are surrounded by reporters who begin taking their pictures. Jack tells Kate that it is difficult for both of them to leave at the same time. He will distract the reporters, and she should use the back door to reach the hospital. Jack manages the reporters with great patience, with CO by his side. Afterwards, as the reporters leave, Jack arrives at the hospital to see Granny, but Max pushes him away, saying that he cannot win Kate like this and that there was no need to come see Granny. They begin fighting like children, and meanwhile, Kate sees and stops them. She takes the flower bouquet from Jack and tells him to leave and never come again, even on the island. He cannot understand what the matter is, but she even gives him the bracelet to return to Granny's room. She thinks she cannot live a compatible life with a superstar. Seeing him heartbroken, Seo drives the car and accompanies him to his home. On the other hand, Granny is now better and asks about Jack, wondering why he didn't come to see her. Kate lies, saying that he is busy and will probably never come into their lives again. Jack drinks in a bar with Namjo, who asks if he has been rejected by Kate. Jack refuses, saying he's not rejected because he's a top star. Namjo, knowing Jack's situation, sings a sad song that reminds Jack of Kate, and he becomes very drunk. As he leaves the bar, he sees sea urchins and tells Namjo that she likes them a lot. Namjo somehow drags him home. Meanwhile, Kate and Max discover that the doctor treating Granny is their former schoolmate. Kate is thrilled to see her but assumes that Max is dating Kate. Max recalls the day in school when classmates brought flowers for Kate, and he scolded them to stay away from her. He later tells the doctor that he likes Kate, so he cannot date her. Jack wakes up in his room and feels someone sleeping next to him. It is Namjo, who accompanied him home because he was so drunk last night. Jack accuses Namjo of smelling really bad, but they discover that he bought many sea urchins last night when Jack was missing Namjo, and they are in the bathtub. Jack uncontrollably starts laughing at the sight of them for no apparent reason. Granny gets better, and after being discharged from the hospital, she returns to the village. The villagers want to know about superstar Jack, but Kate has no answers. She feels everything has changed and suddenly sees Jack in front of her. It is not a dream, and to be sure, she touches his face. Jack tells her that he is retracting his confession of love and is here to return her undergarments. She gets so nervous and hides them. Jack goes to his room and feels peaceful being around her. He forms a friendly bond with the little boy in the village, and that day Granny prepares a very nice meal to celebrate the superstar's return. She does not mind that Max has also joined them at the table and puts a lot of food on Jack's plate. Max is annoyed but unable to do anything, seeing that Jack is back again. Jack casually follows Kate and asks her to take him along as he is going in the same direction. She hesitantly permits him to sit behind on her bike, and it feels romantic to her, making her very happy to be so close to Jack. In the grocery shop, Kate watches him apply lip balm and feels very attracted to him. He comes closer to ask about a grocery item, and she feels as if he is about to kiss her again, making it difficult to resist. But Jack tells her that he was never going to kiss her, grabs a juice, and leaves the shop. Two old women, Mr. and Mrs. Park, along with Granny, are about to arrange a blind date for Kate with a guy. The guy is not attractive at all, and Kate wants to reject him immediately, but she agrees to go on the date just to annoy Jack. On the other hand, Jack's little friend has understood the situation. Jack loves Kate a lot and wants to be with her. He says that if Jack wants to reach her, he must first win Granny's heart, because Kate does whatever Granny tells her to do. But the problem is that Granny loves Max more than Jack, who is her greatest competitor. When Max discovers that a man is waiting for Kate and that he is her blind date, he changes out of the outfit he was wearing to propose to Kate, puts on a dress, and tells the guy that he is the girl he is here for. The guy is terrified to see a man in a dress, and soon Kate arrives. Before she can meet her date, Max drags her away forcibly. Wearing the weird dress, he does not want to wait any longer and proposes to her right away. Kate never imagined this, but at Max's request, she holds back her response. The whole village is excited to hear the proposal news, but Jack sees Kate slipping away from him and confronts her about her reaction to Max's proposal. Before she can say anything, Granny speaks for her, saying that Kate already likes Max and that she also approves of the marriage and would be happy to see them marry. To celebrate, Granny arranges a feast and invites everyone to their home that night. Heartbroken, Jack reminds everyone that Kate has not yet responded to the proposal, so there is no point in celebrating prematurely. But the villagers, who already want to see them as a couple, speak for Kate, saying that she would never reject Max. Kate drinks many shots that night and says that she does not love Max. Her heart beats for Jack, but he has a different life, and she cannot decide what to do. Max clearly knows what she wants, but brings her home and forgets what she said. The next day, Jack talks to her about embracing her feelings, but she tells him that he is a big star, and she can't even guess when he is acting and when he is not. She goes on a date with Max, which enrages Jack even more. However, his little friend spoils their romantic moments on the ship. Despite this, Max successfully puts the ring on her hand before the date. When she returns, Jack gets so angry seeing the ring on her hand that he tries to remove it, but it falls to the ground. Jack picks up the ring for her and confesses his love, saying that he would leave everything for her. On the other hand, reporters have started publishing articles against him, claiming that his mother is just an ordinary employee at a hotel and that he is an idiot who can't take care of her. This news causes him to have an anxiety attack, and he becomes very ill. The doctor gives him relaxing medicine, and he ends up sleeping in Kate's room. After waking up, he tells Kate that all the time she sacrificed her own desires for Granny or someone else. She even missed out on higher education classes and is now leaving her love as well. Then he packs up and is about to leave when Granny gives him a lot of food she made to take along. Jack feels her love, and his heart fills with sadness and gratitude for her, but he has to leave anyway. She calls Kate to meet the superstar, but Kate never gets out of bed as she is crying. In response to the new schedule, Jack's mother clears up the ambiguity by making a statement to the media, taking the blame. She explains that she left Jack and is now forced to live a miserable life. Jack does not like her public statement and goes to his mother's home. He expresses what has been boiling in his heart, saying that she abandoned him when his father died, choosing another man over her own child. Now she is not acting like a family, and everything she did in her life seems to him nothing more than sheer stupidity. He then leaves the home. Meanwhile, Namjo, Seo, and Dang are pleased that the new issue is now closed, so Namjo calls to ask about Jack, and Granny does not remember that Jack just left the village and tells them he is still there. But when Namjo and Dang reach the village, they discover that Jack left many days ago. Namjo goes to meet Kate in her grocery store and shares Jack's story, explaining that he was always depressed due to his family situation. He skipped days of sleep and never saw a shred of happiness in his life until she came into his life. At the same time, Max, hearing the conversation, notices Kate's sad face and tells Namjo that he sees the ring on Kate's hand and that he's about to marry her. Before leaving, Namjo writes Jack's number on a piece of paper. On the other hand, Jack is so disturbed that he can hardly control his car and barely avoids an accident. Meanwhile, Max dreams that Kate rejects him and decides to search for Jack. When he wakes up, he finds Kate in front of him, as she is there to give him scarves. She puts them around his neck, which gives Max immense happiness, and he shouts that Kate has accepted him. Kate throws Jack's phone number away before leaving. That night, when Max goes to get his mother's medicines, he sees that Kate is there. He follows her as she dials Jack's number but does not say anything. She calls multiple times, and Jack realizes it is Kate calling. He calls back, but by the time Kate leaves the room and begins crying outside, Max picks up the call and tells Jack that Namjo and Dang are in the village. Later, Max goes outside and pretends not to know anything. Afterwards, Max removes the scarves and cries in his room. The next day, Kate and Granny are prepared for the wedding. She looked gorgeous in the wedding dress. On the other hand, Jack was already sitting in the restaurant when the waiter asked him to move to another table as their guests were arriving for the wedding ceremony. Jack disliked it, but when he saw the bride and groom were Kate and Max, he could hardly believe his eyes. Meanwhile, Kate has a special wedding dress that she takes inside the hotel as a surprise for Mrs. Park. Mr. Park arranged the ceremony for his wife's happiness. After the ceremony, they take group pictures. Later, as everyone insists, Kate and Max pose for a photo as a couple. Jack, watching them from the building balcony, looks so sad that his love story has ended today. Max knows that Jack is watching them. After the wedding ceremony ends, Kate brings scarves for Max. He now understands that he cannot win her love forcibly, and reminds Kate that she should live for herself and listen to her heart. She gave up higher education for Granny, and is now leaving Jack for the happiness of others. Kate cries, feeling indebted to Max because he always supported her. He removes the engagement ring from her hand and walks away. Max is very sad and tells his father that Kate has rejected his proposal. Max's father, who considers Kate as his own daughter, is happy for her. On the other hand, crying Kate walks on the street searching for Jack. Namjo offers to take her to Jack, but he has no idea where to find him. So he makes a call to Jack, asking him to come to the nearby park, but Jack does not show up. Afterwards, Namjo leaves her there with some money, asking her to wait for Jack, and departs. Suddenly, Jack realizes that Namjo was at the wedding, so he must have something important to tell and goes to the park. Kate is already waiting and crying when she sees Jack. She tells him that she was not marrying Max. Jack stops her and kisses her. On the other hand, Max apologizes to Granny for forcing his relationship on Kate while she loved Jack. His parents also apologize to her. Meanwhile, Kate changes her wedding dress at Jack's home under bed cover without locking the room because she didn't know how to lock it. Jack tries to get intimate with her, but she tells him they need to maintain a distance since they are just at the initial stage. Jack then pulls her closer, and they lie in bed together, feeling very happy. Jack visits his mom and repairs the light there. On his return, he tells Kate that he visited his mom, and she thinks he's doing great for himself. He then takes Kate along to go back to the village after telling Seo to rewrite the contracts as he needs a few days off. He buys nice clothes for Kate and a coat for Granny as well. Max's parents are worried because they feel he is heartbroken and try to cheer him up by making good food and cracking jokes. However, he reassures them that he is okay and receives a call informing him that Kate is returning to the village. He greets both Kate and Jack and assures Kate that he will always be there for her as her brother. Max tells Jack to take good care of Kate as she is very special. Kate cries because she feels sad for Max. Meanwhile, Granny makes good food, but another Granny, who once overheard Jack talking on the phone about having female qualities, tells this to Granny. However, she misunderstood what she heard and spread false news. Granny tells Kate upon their arrival that their marriage can't happen because the other Granny told her the truth about Jack. Kate understands the situation and takes Granny aside to explain the real situation. Granny then gives her blessing to Kate, but at the same time, Max's mother tries to prevent Max from seeing this, as it would break his heart, and she takes him away. Granny expresses her wish to meet Jack's mother and is very pleased with the gift she received. That night, Kate returns the money that Max's father gave her for the wedding, but he refuses to take it back, as he considers Kate his own daughter. Kate feels a mix of love and sadness. On her return, Jack hugs her. That night, she sits close to Jack while he is sleeping and tries to kiss him. However, Granny calls her downstairs, which alerts Kate and wakes Jack. Meanwhile, the doctor reconciles with the man she loves, and the next day, Jack takes Kate fishing. She sits so close to him that she expects a kiss, but Jack avoids it, which enrages Kate. She finally shouts that she was wrong about keeping a distance and wants to kiss him. Others, including Max, his parents, and villagers, hear her shout as well. Max's mother tries to take him away so he doesn't hear them, but Max insists he is fine and goes home angrily. That night, Jack and Kate happily sit together in Kate's room, enjoying the best time of their lives. Suddenly, they hear someone eavesdropping from the window and see a shadow running away. It was one of the twin Grannies who was gravely ill and wanted to end her life. They take her back home. The next day, Seo arrives in the village while Jack is talking to Kate on the road. He can clearly see that both of them are madly in love with each other. As Kate goes off to do some chores, Jack takes a walk around the village and stops by a strange house. The man who first brought him to the village as a ship driver lives here. Seo cannot believe how Jack is transformed into a soft and romantic person. As Jack leaves after giving some things to the doctor starts his checkup. She makes a joke about his life being too short, but then tells him to do some exercises to relax. Meanwhile, Kate replaces all the pictures of the singer in her room with pictures of Jack. As she looks at her collage admission papers and dreams of higher education, Jack enters the room. She hides the collage enrollment slip and shows the wall full of her new favorite star, Jack. Jack has to help Namjo, who has signed a new movie. Granny packs many things for him and his mother as well. Kate accompanies him to see him off to the Long Island. On the other hand, Max suffers a severe accident on the road when he bumps into a strange man. His leg gets broken, and he's admitted to the same hospital where the doctor who loves him works. She introduces herself to Max's parents, and Max's mother is very happy to see her and asks if she is in a relationship. The doctor replies that she has never had time for such things and assures them that she will take good care of Max. Jack gives his mother all the packets that Granny had given him. Before leaving, his mother returns. She opens the packages and likes everything very much. She is happy that her son is happy in his life. To surprise Kate, Jack is in a car with Namjo heading to the hotel. Meanwhile, Kate has changed her disguise to surprise him. When she calls, she hears a girl talking near Jack and becomes jealous, thinking he is with someone else. In reality, it was just the GPS voice. Kate arrives at the beach and sees Jack with a girl hugging her. She runs towards him angrily but then realizes he is filming a scene and turns back. However, she bumps into a car. Jack picks her up and reporters ask about her, and Jack tells them that she is the love of his life and he cannot share more details. Her picture in a weird getup with Jack spreads everywhere, but she does not like the picture. That night, Jack proposes to her and she accepts happily. However, she wants some time because she does not want to introduce herself to the world as an ordinary girl married to a superstar. She wants to attend college. Jack agrees with her and she starts college while Jack continues working in dramas and movies. Max finally finds love as he starts liking the doctor. Jack receives an award as usual and gives a very nice speech. He dedicates his success to the people in the village and looks very happy. After a few years, Kate's college years end and her friends want to take her to a party. But Jack insists that she go to the village with him, as he is ordering her as a husband. Her friends lift him up in their arms happily, and the drama ends here.